OK, let's go live now to British National Health Service surgeon and consultant Ranjeet Brar. Welcome to the programme. I hope this isn't going to be a big ask to get you to join the dots between an article in The Sun and the science behind COVID vaccines. But are you 100% convinced by The Sun and its anonymous sources claiming that Russia stole the Astra Zeneca jab data?
Colin, thanks for having me. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm coming, unfortunately, from the train. The story is laughable. I'm afraid the intention behind it is not. Just as you say, it's an entirely different platform. So it's an entirely different technical mechanism used by the Gamaleya Institute to introduce the spike protein into the host immune system to that of the Oxford AstraZeneca jab. So on that basis alone, it simply holds no water.
The Sun says it uses two similar technologies. Sputnik V's producers point out they're different vectors. Is this just a tabloid oversimplifying things?
It certainly is. It's an entirely different platform. And by that, I mean, you'll be aware, if anyone has read any of the papers, the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, it calls itself ChAd-Ox, chimpanzee adenovirus Oxford. So it's a chimpanzee vector. In fact, it's been lambasted slightly in the Russian press on occasion as being a monkey vaccine, whereas the Gamaleya Institute elaborates on their formerly developed, well-known platform, which is two separate human cold viruses, two separate adenoviruses. In fact, it's that leads to the superior efficacy and safety profile of the Gamaleya Institute Sputnik V vaccine. The fact that it uses two different adeno vaccines for the prime and boost jab means that there isn't cross-reactivity, and it's that leads to it's almost 96, 97% efficacy, and it doesn't have the same problems of safety profile with the thrombosis and the sagittal venous sinus thrombosis and the strokes that we've seen with the AstraZeneca vaccine, Colin.
Because the Sputnik V manufacturers say their shot hasn't caused any significant adverse reactions to their jabs. I took it in the new year. I had a bit of a headache for half a day. Does that kind of thing suggest that the technologies are significantly different?
The technologies are totally different, so the platform's totally different. That's the first thing. The second thing to say is that if you were going to copy someone's work, how would you then produce yours before they have produced the original? That in itself makes no logical sense. The third thing is that the whole way the story is primed and fanned, it builds on a kind of array of half-truths, anonymous sources, vague kind of stabs in the dark. There's no actual information at the bottom of this story. It smacks of grey propaganda. We used to have something called the Information Research Department, latterly redesigned as the Integrity Initiative, designed to plant precisely this kind of story, which raises doubts, suspicions and fears regarding powers that our government wishes to target, particularly about Russia and China at the moment. And this is absolutely classical of that. Basically, psychological operation. It bears no scientific scrutiny, but clearly, as I say, the intention behind it is to cause distrust and animosity towards the Russian people.
Does that distrust then extend to public health? Because as a doctor who's seen what this pandemic has done, not only to public health, but also the strain on health staff and health services, other outlets have run with this story as well, because let's face it, Russian hackers make good clickbait count, don't they? But could it have an adverse effect on the work being done in global inoculation?
I don't think so. I don't think anyone's going to take this seriously outside the UK, the USA. I think they'll see the propaganda for what it is, another in a long line of spurious attacks made precisely to score political points, cheap political points. And this is, of course, in the context of a gas crisis in which our government is facing huge discontent with the rising cost of living, inflation, and people having to face in our country the choice between heating their houses and feeding themselves. And again, our government is trying to misdirect their anger, not towards privatization of service, not towards escalation of costs, not towards the global economic crisis, but towards a foreign power who, in fact, have offered to step in and solve the problem for us.
Indeed. OK, well, we'll let you get on with your train journey. Glad we got you before you managed to reach a tunnel. Dr. Brar, NHS surgeon, thanks for your time.
Thank you.